baseball fans. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Welcome into On Deck, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. What a game it was. We're going to get all into it right now. But before we do, please do us a favor. If you have not already, press that like button. It really does help us out. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications so that you can stay up to date with everything going on with your Atlanta Braves and, of course, everything on this channel. And again, what a great game it was, but it didn't start out that way necessarily. Of course, Spencer Strider did come out looking as good as he ever could with a curveball added on to what we know, and I thought the curveball looked really good until about the fifth inning when Marsh homered on an off-speed pitch. I don't know if it was a slider or a curveball, but he did take it deep for 2 runs, and I think that kind of put a bad taste in everybody's mouth after the playoffs last year. But after that, the offense was able to come through after the 7th inning. Really, after Wheeler left the mound, that's when everything started working right. And I have to say, number one, the Braves' offense was, it's home run dependent. Today, it was. I mean, you're talking about multiple walks in the same inning that led to, I think a 7-run 8th inning, which is insane. But also, Matt Olson had a great day. Ronald Acuna had a great day. He was 2 for 4. Matt Olson 3 for 5. Michael Harris 3 for 5. So there were guys. Adam Duvall came in the clutch off the bench, so that was nice. But there was a lot of guys that had really good days offensively. But really, what it came down to was the fact that they were patient at the plate. And if I'm the Phillies right now, and I look at the trade deadline coming up, and I'm, if there's anything I'm targeting, I know what it is, and that's the bullpen, because those guys, specifically Alvarado, could not locate to save his life. They got some power arms, Strom, Brockton even. They got some guys who can, throw high velocity, but the locations were just not there, and the Braves took full advantage. It was a nice change of pace, and it was nice to see that, the Braves focused in, and, it was all about next man up, next man up. I thought when Acuna came up, it was like, all right, here we go, MVP moment, and he handed it off to the next guy. So it was all about just keeping the bases loaded, keeping the pressure on, and the Braves were able to, again, take advantage of it. I love the fact they were able to do that. When you look at the win probability today, take a look at this little graph here, because this says something. At the lowest point, the Phillies had an 87.3 chance of winning, and that flipped on a dime here in the 7th when all of a sudden the Braves offense got to work. And then, of course, it only went wrong for them after that. Yeah, I mean, it was a great offensive showing for the Braves against the bullpen of the Philadelphia Phillies. You got to love that. I want to say Joe Jimenez had a clean inning. Pierce Johnson had a clean inning with 2 strikeouts. A.J. Minter had a clean inning with 2 strikeouts. Aaron Bummer ran into some trouble, but it's his first appearance with the Braves. They put him out there with, not a lot of pressure on him. They wanted to see what he could do. And this guy's a sinker baller, and he got two strikeouts today. So it's opening day. We'll see where it goes from here. I thought overall the pitching staff did a very good job. Spencer Strider, I don't think had his best day, but 5 innings pitched with 8 strikeouts, only 2 earned runs given up. I'll take it. So I thought all in all it was a good opening day, and really the fact is I'm just happy baseball is back, but I'm happy the Braves got kicked off with a win. Hopefully there's many more to come. Of course, they got 2 more with the Phillies, and I would love a sweep to open up the series, but we will see. I know for a fact actually it will be Max Fried on the mound tomorrow night. Excited for that. Excited to see Chris Sale. Because those are the guys that I assume we're going to see come the playoffs, So I think this is a big series. I think this series, it's crazy. We're starting out this season and we're already talking about this is a big series, but it is. In the division, it's big, for not bragging rights necessarily, but it's good for your company. We got the Phillies in the playoffs, and sure, what happened last year, but also we swept them early on in the season. That's a nice thing to know. And it's nice to know that even if you can't beat Zach Wheeler, you can beat their bullpen. Because that's what happened today. And credit to Zach Wheeler. We had nothing for him. I mean, we had our chances, but he, kept the Braves offense off the board. However you want to look at it. The Braves, I think, left 4 runners on base while he was pitching. I mean, he just navigated through the trouble. And that's a big accomplishment when you're taking on the Braves offense. So credit to him, credit, for what it's worth after a 9-3 loss. But Zach Wheeler held it down. And he's never one you're going to feel comfortable. Same with Nola. You're never going to feel comfortable facing those guys in the postseason. It's just not going to happen. But the Braves were able to, limit the damage early and come out, on the back end and take care of the offense against the bullpen, And that's all you can really ask for when you're going up against a guy like Zach Wheeler or Aaron or, Zach Gallen these days. I mean, anybody like that who's just locked down, you take what you can get. And today, the Braves got 9 runs against the Philly bullpen. So we'll see how the Philly bullpen stacks up tomorrow night. We'll see how they go from here. But the Braves were able to score against some of their better arms. You're talking about Alvarado. You're talking about Strom. The Braves were able to put runs up against Hoffman, Brogdon. Not everybody's a superstar. But, Matt Strom was lights out in the postseason last year. Alvarado has got nothing but velocity, but even so, like the Braves were able to score against him. That's nice to know going forward. So we'll see what happens. But I thought overall today the Braves. Did they steal one? I don't think you can say that the Braves stole one when it was 9-3. But I think ultimately speaking, the Braves were able to take the win when. It wasn't necessarily a given. So I thought it was a good day. I think there's more good days ahead. Credit to the Braves offense again, and excited for Adam Duvall, who saw time today, and he probably didn't, he might have expected he could have, but he didn't know for sure that he'd come off the bench. Travis d'Arnaud got some time today. Unfortunate that Shawn Murphy will be out. Never want that, ever. Oblique tightness, so which means he'll likely be out for about a month. It's never a good thing, but Chadwick Tromp, I believe, has already been named to be the guy who will replace him in the roster as of right now. But Travis d'Arnaud will take over the starter role, and it'll give d'Arnaud, a chance to be back where he used to be in the starter role. And it'll give Chadwick Tromp a chance to get some big league experience. And you never know how that may benefit him later, if he's needed in the postseason or if he's needed later just in the regular season. You know how that'll benefit him. But, again, never want to see Shawn Murphy hurt, but unfortunately for now, he is. He's got oblique tightness. Again, he should be out about a month. They may put him on the 15-day IL and go from there. But I assume it'll be a month or so before he's back, which you hate to hear that because coming out of spring training, Shawn Murphy, he was one of our picks to click. He was, really just on the money at the time spring training ended. I think he led the team, tied with the lead with the team with 3 homers. I want to say he had like a 355 average. Yeah. Across 12 games. You felt like this was going to be his time to break out, and unfortunately, at least for the time being, we're going to have to wait on Shawn Murphy's breaking out. But I hate to see it. I wish him the best, obviously, in recovery. You never want to see it, especially on opening day. Just a terrible way to open the season for him. But yeah, we'll go from here. d'Arnaud can hold it down. We know he can. That's kind of the benefit of having a dual catcher scenario like the Braves have, is when your number 1 goes down, your number 2 doubles as the number 1 in d'Arnaud. So it's a luxury that we're not going to have for a little while, but Shawn Murphy will be around before you know it, and hopefully the Braves will be able to take advantage of that when that day comes. With that said, we're going to open it up to the comment section, and again, really do appreciate all of you guys tuning in today on opening day. I know yesterday was technically opening day. today is our opening day. So again, thank you for being here on a Friday night. Thank you for watching the live stream. Thank you for liking the video. If you have not already, please do. If you haven't already, also please do consider subscribing. We really do appreciate it. Doesn't cost you a dime, and it really helps the channel. So please do that. And of course, hit the bell for notifications. I saw a lot of people. Tyler, are you still going live tonight? What's the update? Are you going live? You don't have to worry about that if you got notifications on. It'll send you a link, and you never have to worry about it. It'll tell you when we're on, when we're gonna be on, all that good stuff. So just throwing that out there. But we are going to get into the comments section. And again, really do appreciate all you guys being here tonight after a terrific 9-3 win for the Bravos. And I'm really excited to see tomorrow night. We'll have Max Fried. I would assume taking on Nola. I haven't seen sale. But, yeah, I mean, a lot to be excited about for the Atlanta Braves. A lot to be excited about if you're an Atlanta Braves fan. If I'm picking a standout from today, I think I have to go with the birthday boy, Matt Olson. Because how could you not? I mean, 3 doubles, and I think he had a couple of RBIs mixed in there too. So, you got to love that. But Daniel Barry tuning in. First one of the night. I think that's 2 streams in a row. He's been the first one here. Yasuki Knight says, good win today for the team. Go Braves. DD says, great game today. I ended up finding CeeLo. Well, good. I'm glad. If you don't know, on the go with CeeLo. If you need someone who's just going to give you play-by-play coverage of the Braves, he's a free alternative. He can't show you the game, but you can listen to the game. And he gives you, all kinds of things throughout the game, his takeaways and that kind of thing. It's great for that kind of viewership. And it's someone who I always recommend to folks. How do I watch the Braves? Well, I can give you a free route, and that's, of course, going with on the go with CeeLo. I also wanted to point out, this is DG I'm talking to here, but anybody that's struggling to find out how to watch the Braves, I actually shared on my Instagram today. The Bally Sports dropped a post. It's literally titled, How Do I Watch Bally Sports? It's on my Instagram story right now. So please just do yourself a favor and check that out. I'm going to put my handle up real quick for you. It's just go check that handle out. It's on my story. It gives you all kinds of options, streaming ideas, cable provider, whatever it is. It'll give you the how-to guide to watch whatever way you choose. So that may be some benefit to some of you guys. I know I've had a lot of you guys ask me that, and I saw your name, so I wanted to make sure you got it or anybody else that needed it got it. But it is on my Instagram, so if you need it, if you can't find my Instagram or you don't have Instagram, message me on Twitter. Whatever way, comment, I'll get it to you some kind of way. But I don't mind helping you guys out. I know how hard it is to find Braves games. I get it. So I would love to help you any way I can, but that's the best way to do it. Is to go to my Instagram. It's on the story, and you can get it that way. If I help you, please let me know. If you need help, DM me, comment here, whatever the case may be. We'll get you sorted out. Let's see. Chris Kaysen says, go Braves. Let's see. Matthew tuning in. Chris Kaysen says, glad Kelenic got himself a rip today and got on base. Yeah, that was nice, and early too, because, he got taken out right after that, if I'm not mistaken, for Duvall. So, yeah, he got a rip. It's a good way to start the season, and I told you guys a few weeks ago that him batting 9th in front of Acuna is going to really benefit him. And I meant it because, again, anytime you put somebody in front of the MVP, the reigning MVP, and a threat like Acuna, not only at the plate but also on the base pass, they got to get Kelenic out. So they're going to attack with fastballs. They're going to attack in the zone. Or they won't. They'll walk him, and Acuna comes up with a man on. So either way, they'll take it. But I really thought him batting 9th would benefit him. I still think that. I like the platoon with him and Duvall. It really worked out for Duvall today. So we'll see how it goes. But overall, I really liked it. And good job pointing that out. I meant to bring that up. Let's see. Jake Hobby says, hey, everyone. Hope Murphy won't be out long. Again, anytime you're talking about oblique... Speaking of Adam Duvall had an oblique issue in the playoffs a few years ago. But anytime you're talking about an oblique, it's usually about a month. And I know that because I actually Googled it earlier today, right after Murphy got taken out, and we knew kind of what it was. How long is he going to be out? I was hoping it'd say 2 weeks. It said a month. But yeah, of course, wishing him the quickest recovery possible and the easiest recovery possible. Scooter Puff says, what a win, folks. Watching those Philly stands start emptying the minute they surrendered the lead was gratifying. Yeah, absolutely it was. And CJ, I'm going to mess up his name, but the new play-by-play guy, he had a funny point. Did you guys notice all the hot dog wrappers that were everywhere today? Like, what was up with that? I mean, I know it was windy, but he said it looked like something out of the 80s, and he's right. I mean, I haven't seen a game with that much trash in it in a long time. And I'm not, like, picking on the Phillies. It was baffling to me. I was sitting there thinking, like, that's the third piece of trash I've seen go behind the batter's box. What is that? And sure enough, the broadcast called it out too. So I appreciate it because I was sitting there wondering, what is it? And I mean, I knew it was windy. I mean, anytime you saw one of the batters, their pant legs was waving in the wind. The flags were going nuts in the outfield. Like, it was a windy day, but whew, it was crazy. Let's see. By the way, I appreciate you guys battling through as I'm battling through the allergy season. I appreciate you guys being here and being willing to listen to the occasional cough or sniffle or whatever. So really do appreciate that. Does not go without mentioning. I'm about 85% there. I'm not 100%, but I am on the way back. They had us in the first half, guys, but they're not going to have us in the second half. I refuse. Let's see. Jake Hobby, we're going to have to count on Travis mostly and Chadwick Trump until Murphy is back. That's the truth. I think I think what will happen is for the majority of the time you'll see Travis, obviously, and Chadwick will be there, but I think Chadwick's main responsibility is going to be more along the lines of defense first because, I mean, Chadwick can hit. We've seen him in the big leagues. He's not, any slouch, and he's been good in the minors. That's why they have him there. I mean, he is there for this situation. But his real focus is going to be, of course, handling the pitchers and being behind the plate, making sure, being the game manager in a lot of ways. So we'll see how it does, but I think he'll be fine. I think he'll catch Ronaldo Lopez a lot. I think he'll catch, I think he'll focus more on the back end of the rotation, and Darno will focus on your Striders and Freeds and Sales. I think you'll have Morton with Chadwick, and I think you'll have Ronaldo for the time being with Chadwick. That would be how I would do it. I don't know if that'll be. I mean, it may just be an every other day. But knowing Darno, I think he'll take the majority, as many as he can, with the occasional off day. They'll schedule it the way they need to. DG says, I wonder how long Murphy is out for. Like I said, it can take anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. I would lean more towards a month. I hope it's not that bad, but, I mean, if you want him to come back and not be limited, I would say a month, but we'll see. Let's see. Wow, we got a busy chat tonight. Really do appreciate it. Continue to put those in. Remember, super chats do get your priority, and of course, please don't forget to like the video. Really does benefit the channel. It really does benefit the streams. The more people we get in is really dependent on the likes, and the more people we get in, the better conversations we have, and it really does make a difference here. And not to mention, I want to get to as many Braves fans as I can. So please do like the video as well as subscribe if you have not already. Corey Carter says, it was so sweet to see those wretched Philly fans shut up and take their disappointed butts home. A few years ago, how do I put this? A few years ago, I had to go in and basically block words from being used in the comments. Like, I don't want to encourage anybody, but people were cussing, and I don't really want that on my channel. I try to keep out of that, especially because I have to read a lot of these. I try to steer clear of it. But Corey just did a masterclass of going around the cuss words with very creative adjectives, and I'm going to read this again. It was so sweet to see those wretched Philly fans shut up and take their disappointed butts home. That's 3 in there. I'm just saying. Very creative, and I loved it. And I agree with you. DG says it's free 99. I got that all wrong. He said it's free 99 to hit all those buttons. Yeah. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Cannot emphasize that enough. I really do appreciate all you guys tuning in tonight. Corey Carter says Pierce looked great and could close some games this season. Bummer looked shaky. Well, his last name is Bummer. I'm just kidding. I think Bummer will be fine. It's his first appearance, and he's really dependent on the ground ball most times. I know he had 2 strikeouts tonight, but he's a sinker ball guy, similar to Soroka in a lot of those ways. I don't think he'll pitch very many 9th innings. I think today was just a chance for them to put it out there with a little leverage on his side, but I don't think he'll be there very often at all. Let's see. DG, tell CeeLo I said you're welcome. Pamela Johnson says, I was very impressed with the relief staff. Great win, great start of open season. Yeah, this relief staff that we have, the bullpen, forgive me, the bullpen is going to be a lot better than last year. We have a lot more left-handed options, which I was begging at the trade deadline. Can we please get some left-handed pitchers? Because A.J. Minter is on an island by himself. It never happened. We got him in the offseason, though, and I think they're going to be a lot better. I mean, we saw just Minter today, but I think we're going to have a lot more options there, especially when Matzik gets back. I think the fact that we have a lot more lefties to go with is going to be big. But, we'll see where it goes from there. We had a super chat. Maverick, I have not seen you in a while, my friend, but I'll take the super chat where I can get it. Maverick says, Braves look good today, but also went through a channel rebrand and also got my memberships and online store online. I also do Braves and other games. My ex is Maverick Sports. Sorry, been busy with work. Thanks, Maverick. I appreciate it. Everybody go follow Maverick wherever he may be. Please go follow him. And again, thank you for the super chat. Remember, super chats do get you priority. They get you moved up to the front of the line. And of course, please do like the video if you can. I got to drink some water, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, Maverick, thank you again. Really do appreciate the super chat. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your support over the years. I try to remember as many of you guys as I can that support not only, a couple of times here and there, but long times. And, Maverick's been there for a long time, and, CeeLo's been there a long time. Chris Kaysen's been there a long time. I mean, Bill Gates, I know you're out there somewhere. He's here all the time too. I mean, there's guys that have been here since I was doing this on just my phone, since I was doing live streams off my cell phone. So you guys have been here a long time, and we really appreciate you being here tonight as well. For you newcomers, welcome to the club. Happy to have you, and hopefully you'll be here a long time as well. Robert Blackman said, oh, I lost you. Where'd you go? Well, I thought I just read your name. Robert Blackman, there we go. Great to see Braves baseball again. Absolutely. Let's see. I got mixed around. All right. Corey Carter says, boy, that Kelenic sure can hit. And I got to agree with you, number one. But number two, it's just nice that he can get spring training behind him. Spring training is not everything. It's far from it. And it's just nice that he gets to start. Forgive me. He gets to start the season batting 500. You got to love that. Let's see. Vision says, that win felt so good. I wanted to quiet those fans down quick. Oh, they were loud in the 5th inning. They were happy. And I was sitting in my office and I was watching with a few baseball fans that are not Braves fans. And they were saying, oh, the Braves are going to lose. They're going to lose. And I said, just wait till we get to their bullpen. So Wheeler can't pitch all night. He can't do it. He's not going to do it. Sure enough, as soon as we got to their bullpen, lit it up. And couldn't have asked for better. I really could not have asked for better. Matthew says, Tyler, should the Braves trade for former number 2 overall pick Joey Bart from Giants? He's lost favor in that organization and will likely cost very little in a trade. Had a great spring, but now 3rd-string catcher. To be honest with you, I think they're going to go with Chadwick. And the reason I say that, we don't have a lot to trade away anyway at the moment, especially in prospects. And there's no one at the major league level that I want to trade. And to be honest with you, there's also no one in the minor leagues that I want to trade because we don't have a ton in the minors. I want to keep those guys around. And just because Murphy's out for a month does not give me enough reason to say that I want to trade for somebody. Now, if it happens, sure. But I don't think, I mean, depending on how cheap they want to go for him, I don't think so. Plus, we know who Chadwick is. The Braves know very well who Chadwick is. Snitker, I think, was commenting in postgame talking about how excited he is for Trump to get the opportunity. I think it's going to be good for him. I think, I mean, could they do it? Sure. I don't know why he's lost favor in that organization, but I would also say the Braves a lot of times like to steer clear of folks like that. I again, don't really know what the reason is, don't really want to know what the reason is, but I think the Braves are more than likely going to steer clear of that, if I got to be honest. Maddie says Duvall coming off the bench and then tying up the game was clutch. Yeah, and it was such a nice moment for him, a guy that was talking about, the free agent market being so bad and, all that when he first got with the Braves. And, for him to have a moment like that was so nice. And, coming from me, a guy who interviewed him a few weeks ago, one of the nicest guys you'll ever talk to in that clubhouse. And I couldn't be happier for him. So I thought it was great. And, you couldn't ask for a better debut in a Braves uniform again, or a better return. Corey Carter says Snit did a good job of mixing up the lineup. Only one back-to-back righty in the lineup, which was 7 and 8. Yeah, I like that, but to be honest with you, I think I told y'all this Thursday night or whenever I streamed, Wednesday night. I think I said it this, but I didn't think Kelenic should have been in the 7-hole originally. And then I heard it from Snit, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Why wouldn't you want him batting in front of Acuna? Why can't Harris move up to 6th? Now we saw it today. Michael Harris 3 for 5. Kelenic 1 for 2. Why wouldn't you do that? I mean, this is one night. I'm just saying, but it seemed to pay off, and I thought it was good. Scooter Puff says, honestly though, if the Phillies bullpen is as rough as it looked today, they're in for a bad time this year. Well, looking across the division, to be honest with you, I don't know how much competition there is if it's not the Phillies. Because the Mets, I don't have a lot of faith in New York. And I say that. I know I'm risking a lot, getting the wrath of New York fans, but I think even they will tell you they're not expecting a ton this year. By the way, did anybody see the Jeff McNeil, Rhys Hoskins incident today? What a time to be a Mets fan. I don't know. I think in the division, the Marlins are, the Nationals are irrelevant still. Really the only two teams that mean anything are the Phillies and the Mets, and I don't think the Mets are much competition. And the Phillies, if they're, like you said, if their bullpen looks like this all year long, which I don't think it will. You got some names in there that should turn it around, but if they look like this, it's going to be bad for them. And they're going to have a lot of nights where the fans are walking out on them, so we'll see. But it was not a good day for them. Let's see. Matthew says, Bummer looks straight up worse than Soroka, and he costs more than twice as much money. Wouldn't we be better with Lopez in the bullpen and Soroka as the number 5 starter and keeping Schuster rather than Bummer? Okay, that was a lot. Here's what I'm going to say. It's one appearance. They're putting him out there. It's a low-leverage situation. I'm going to defend Bummer here because, if no other reason, my brother really wanted Bummer to come to the Braves, so I'm going to defend it here. I think, ultimately, it is one appearance. I didn't think it was an overall bad appearance. He got 2 strikeouts in 4 batters. One guy got a good hit, and he had a walk. I didn't think it was the worst thing I've ever seen. Not enough for me to give up on him, surely. We've gone back and forth a lot about the Soroka trade. You can argue that, but hindsight's 20/20. And I talked about this the other night, but I still think the Braves may get Soroka after this year because, it may not happen. I'm not saying it will, but if he does well, why wouldn't he want to come back to the Braves? Why wouldn't the Braves want to have him back? They don't have a solidified 5th starter right now. That I'll agree with you with. Maybe at the trade deadline he's back. I don't know. But, it's one appearance. I didn't even see how he did in opening day. I heard he did fairly well. But I need to see more than one. And the Braves gave Soroka every opportunity they possibly could have. And, maybe it doesn't work out with Bummer. I don't know. But I don't think this one appearance is enough for me to just completely give up on the idea of Aaron Bummer. That's what I'll have to say about that. Corey Carter, unfortunately, the unpaid intern is not in the building. I would be sipping on this water a lot more, but it's the only one I have, and I have to walk all the way to the fridge way over there. He took the night off tonight. Ironically, he's making the same amount of money doing that as he would if he was here. CeeLo, what's going on, buddy? Glad to be with you, man. Let's see. Oh, yeah, so CeeLo's going to be streaming the Tennessee Creighton game. That ought to be a pretty good one. Let's see. Pamela says, I'm definitely a newcomer. Well, Pamela, we are just as happy to have you as we are to have any of the old guys here, too. I promise. Let's see. A lot of you guys are just talking to CeeLo in the chat, and I'm just kidding. I don't care. Let's see. What do you think of the new color guy? I miss Frenchie. I think we're all going to miss Frenchie. I think we are, but the Braves can't really control, him leaving for what he decided to do. If you didn't see him with the Savannah Bananas the other day, that was pretty good. You ought to look it up. But no, I mean, we're always going to miss Frenchie. I mean, for obvious reasons, not only for what he did in the booth, but he's a fixture in Braves fandom. I mean, he was the natural. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He had, just a great little career with the Braves. So naturally, we're gonna miss it. But at the same time, you got to give this new guy a chance. And I want to say it's like C.J. Nitkowski or something like that. I'm gonna butcher it. Former player though, he did have some time in the game. C.J. Nitkowski, forgive me. I did not get to see the introductions today. C.J. Nitkowski, left-handed former professional baseball pitcher, current baseball broadcaster. He played with the Reds. He played with the Rangers. He had a good career. He's worked with Sports Illustrated, Associated Press, SB Nation, Baseball Prospectus, ESPN.com, and MLB.com. So he's got a good resume. I liked him overall. I didn't think he was bad. I mentioned earlier he brought up the hot dogs wrappers floating around the stadium. It's like finally somebody said it. I think he goes well with Gowden. I think they both are. They're both willing to not only have fun doing the broadcast, but also kind of, how do I put this? They're both willing to make the jokes, but they're willing to rein it in when the moment's right. I thought he was good. I thought it was well put together with him and Gowden together. I thought they fit well together. But, time will tell. That's all I can really say is time will tell. Let's see. Sizemore says Olsen checked into the SmackDown hotel. Are you watching Friday? What time is it? I know Friday Night SmackDown is on, but come on now. By the way, Cody or nothing at Mania. That's the way I feel about it. But yeah, Olsen did great today. He had a great appearance. I mean, he 3 doubles, RBIs. You can't really ask for more on your birthday, but I loved it. Speaking of old guys who I haven't seen in a while, Hot Tomato or Hey Tomato, however you want to say it, tunes in. He says, "What's up, Tyler? Hope all is well. Great win on our Braves." Yeah, absolutely. Corey Carter says, Harris stayed down and threw the ball on that nasty lefty today. He may be going to the next level this year. Well, you don't just become a pick to click if you're not going to do well this year. And Michael Harris, make no mistake, is a pick to click. That is why we chose him. I think Michael Harris does hit that next level this year. He led the team, tied, of course, with 3 homers in spring training. 333 average. He's already saying his goals. He wants to be an all-star. He wants to be a gold glover. Wants to win the World Series and get a silver slugger. I'm just saying, that guy he's a man on a mission. And I think his batting is going to take the next step up because he's already got the average. I mean, he's already a 300 some odd hitter year to year. his power numbers are going to take a step up this year. That's what I expect because, again, he's not the setup guy. He's not the 9-hole guy setting up Acuna to come up and just getting on base. He's a guy who's in the middle of the order who can put, power numbers up. He could go deep if the situation calls for it. And we've seen him do it before. I think, ultimately, I think Michael Harris might be my sleeper pick for, how do I put this? Just any given night, I feel like that guy can do something, I just feel like he can do a lot. Let's see. Corey Carter says, I don't understand bananas baseball, but then again, I'm a traditionalist, so I'm probably not supposed to. I've watched it a little, I have a hat from them that somebody gave me. How do I put this? I like what they do. I appreciate what they do. As a baseball traditionalist, it's not something that I watch with any kind of seriousness, like in the competition, which is probably wrong of me, but it's just not something I really watch and go like, okay, I'm locked in. It's just something I go like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this. Actually, a good friend of mine that I played Little League with just got the call up to be one of the teams that they play against. He's going to be on one of those teams. So I can't drop his name, but I'm very excited about it. So it's a good opportunity for him. And of course, I'll probably have to make the trip a time or two to see him. Let's see. Jake Hobby says Francoeur and Glavine will do smaller packages of Braves games. So they're going to be involved, so that's nice. Scooter Puff says nobody's even mentioned Acuna getting a stolen base in the first inning in the first game of the year. Okay, I'll do you one better. He got a hit on the first pitch in the first game of the year. So, no, I thought Acuna was great today, too. I mean, I failed to mention it, but a lot's happened since then. 9 runs were scored since then. I just hope there's a lot more stolen bases this year. On the go with CeeLo says Money Mike is going to have an MVP caliber season. I wouldn't put it past him. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but again, I would not put it past him. Let's see. Maddie says it'll be interesting to see who is in that left field spot come mid-season and moving past the All-Star game. Well, either way, like I think Duvee would have the advantage if you have to pick one or the other. But I think having both of those guys, both Kelenic and Duvee on your roster provide you with options in a situation like we saw today where we needed a right-handed batter. There's going to be times where we need a left-handed batter. And we'll see how it ages. The Braves see something in Kelenic. I see something in Kelenic. I think being in that 9-hole, gives an advantage. And keep in mind, Duvee, and I've said this before, Duvall was an acquisition of circumstance because financially speaking, he was not in the Braves ballpark at the beginning of the offseason. Alex Anthopoulos said that today in the press box. He was not even in the conversation after a certain point. Then, 2 weeks out of the season, he's got no home. He's got nowhere to go. He's not on a roster anywhere. Then the value starts coming down on what he's willing to take, the years he's willing to take. So he wasn't really a part of the Braves' plans. He's kind of like Shawn Murphy, a luxury that you get to have when, in reality, Kelenic would have been in that hole by himself up until this point. And I'm not going to say that Kelenic couldn't have done what Duvee did today. Was it ideal that Duvall came off the bench and was in that spot? Yes. But again, he wasn't really a part of the plan. So it's not fair to say, well, only one of these guys is going to be here mid-season. I believe both of these guys could be fundamental pieces of the Braves offense going forward. Jeffrey Humphrey says, excited to be here. Just celebrated my 3-year anniversary of triple bypass surgery. Well, Jeffrey, that's a big one. That's a big one. And happy anniversary to you. I have a couple of folks that I know that have had similar operations. I know that's a big deal. So really, congrats. Matty F says, I agree. I get the Murphy Travis vibes when it comes to that position now. Yep. Scooter Puff. If having to choose between those two guys in left field is our biggest question mark, we're in for a fantastic year. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like I said, if it's such a relief for me that we don't have to worry about the bullpen. I mean, how many years has it been that it feels like every year I'm coming on here going, it's all fine and dandy what we're doing. Everything's good and all, but our bullpen's going to bite us late in the season. I've said that, I feel like, every year for like 5 years. This year. Because we're getting more as time goes on. We're getting Matzik back, and we have all these left-handed options, and we have guys that we can count on. If Aaron Bummer's our biggest concern, so be it. Kind of the same way as the left field situation. We just don't have a lot of worries, and it's so nice. I'd much rather be in that position than be the Phillies today. And today's one day, but, I feel pretty good going forward. We'll see how it goes, but I choose to believe that the way the Braves operate, and I don't mean the players, the way the Braves build, the way they form the team, they rebuilt for like 5 years. They weren't good for that amount of time, from 2014-ish to about 2018-ish. They didn't really have a lot going on because they were getting their minor leagues loaded. None of this happens without that. That was the 5-year plan. That was the let's get to the next level. And now we're benefiting from it. And it's a very nice feeling. Let's see. Maverick says, I'm glad the Braves brought back Uncle Jesse so he can retire in a Braves uniform and become a Braves pitching coach. I don't hate that. I'm just happy they brought him back, period, to be honest with you. I think he belongs in Braves uniform. Who knows? Maybe we'll trade him again at the trade deadline and get him back on waivers. We'll see. I don't know if he's here to stay. The rate he's been traded, I hope he is, but who knows? Let's see. Radio Rules says all those baseballs in the background. Thank you. I appreciate it. I spent a lot of time building this set. Don't forget about the bats, the helmets, the pictures, all of it. I don't know how much I can show you over here. But, yeah, get a good look. I love this stuff. I am a collector. This is just one room, one corner of one room, really. I have 2 stadium seats over there. I have signed basketballs, helmets, bobbleheads over here. In the other room, I have game-used cleats from Ozzy. I have a lot of stuff. Signed football helmets, whatever. I'm a collector. I love it. It just is what it is. I'm a big collector. Let's see. Oh, you want to know if there's any baseball signed by Dale Murphy? I'll do you one better. That bat is Dale Murphy's bat, and it is signed by him. It's not a game used or anything, but it's his model with his, it's his actual bat that he would have used. Game issued, basically. So, yeah, I got something signed by Dale. But, yeah, I need to do a video where I just go through all the stuff I got, honestly. And it would take me probably 5 days to do. But I need to do a live stream where I just bring everything in. This is what I got. That way all of y'all know what I have, and then I can refer to others. All right, you want to see my collection? Here you go. But, yeah, I appreciate you pointing it out. I mean, obviously you're a new viewer. Appreciate you noticing. Please do like the video, subscribe, and maybe one day we'll get to go through the whole thing. And I know I have some collectors out there that watch. Took a long time to get all this. I mean, I've been collecting since I was 9, so it doesn't happen overnight. Unless you just have a lot of money, which I don't. But Scooter Puff says, Braves pitching struck out 15 today. Looked pretty good. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, anytime you are able to strike out 15, you're having a good day on the mound. The bullpen looked great. I thought Strider, yeah, he only threw 5 innings. Yeah, he gave up. Ball was vicious today. I mean, and that's, in the playoffs, I'm just saying, that's going to be a factor. Let's see. On the go with CeeLo says, I wonder if this will affect any of our pitchers with Murphy out. I think it could. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier, where I would have Chadwick kind of with Ronaldo, Lopez, maybe Morton. And the reason I say that, Ronaldo is so young that I don't know that having a different catcher is going to affect him. I mean, he's new to the team anyway. I don't know that would make that big of a difference in what he would do. I think it might affect Strider. I think it might affect Fried. Morton is so, the opposite of Ronaldo. He's old, in baseball age anyway. He's older. He's gone through this a time or two, so I think he can handle that. But Fried, Strider, Sale, I want d'Arnaud if I can, and it's not always possible. We'll see what happens, but that's kind of the way I feel about it right now is we'll, those two, Morton and Ronaldo, if you can, let them have Trump. If not, we'll see what happens, but, that's all we can ask for. Hato Mato says Jesse was thrilled to be back. Corey Carter says Uncle Jesse for 2024 All-Star team. I am so happy for Jesse Chavez. I wish that I had gotten to spring training a couple days later than I did, and I got to see him come back, and that would have been nice. Maybe I could have just stayed a little longer. I think you always kind of wish that when you do something like that, but I would have loved to have talked to him about being back. I mean, he's had such a good career. We were talking the other day. The most traded player of all time is Jesse Chavez. And, that might, you can laugh at that, and it's kind of meme worthy. I get it. But it's also, that dude's got a storied career. I think I saw the White Sox back when he was with them earlier this year. They did a video asking him if he could name all the places he's been. And he struggled doing it, and it's just interesting. It's an interesting fact. Like, if I ever had something signed by Jesse Chavez, I would almost want it to say most traded player in history because no one else has that title. It's just kind of cool. Before you laugh at that, I had Johnny Venters. I had him sign 3.5 Tommy Johns down on one of these baseballs back here. But, he kind of laughed at it. He thought it was funny. But I was like, hey, man, look, like, you did it. Like, it's an accomplishment, Johnny Venters, by the way, what a stud he was back in the early days. Let me see. Jake Hobby says, Strider said after the game when asked about being booed that he was told they don't boo nobodies. Strider's an interesting interview. When we talked to him the other day, by the way, that short is on the channel if you want to see me talking to Strider. I asked him about this game. Hey, you're pitching against the Phillies on opening day. What does that mean to you? And he basically said it doesn't matter who we're facing. I don't care. I think he got himself into a mindset of just blocking out the noise. I don't think he cares about the fans anymore. Not after last year. I think they got to him last year. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know. I think he might have just had a bad day. Either way, I think he's in a zone now where he's not really worried about that. He's not really studying that. I think it's more about just focusing on the fundamentals, focusing on what he can control. And he was pretty darn good today. Let's see. Jeffrey Humphrey says, Fried usually uses Travis, doesn't he? I have not, to be honest with you, it's not something I really keep up with what pitchers and catchers go together a lot, unless they just make a point to tell me. But yeah, that might work. I mean, because you could use Travis tomorrow, then you could maybe use him with Sale. Maybe maybe use Chadwick with Sale because Sale's new. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they navigate that. Let's see. Matthew says, Tyler, is it okay for us Braves fans to spend the next 24 hours or so making fun of Phillies fans for losing? That would probably be the classiest thing we could do, right? They did it to us after the NLDS. I'm going to say this. As a guy who constantly gets all kinds of comments from Philly fans, Mets fans, Dodger fans, I get it all, Here recently, I've really gotten it from Dodger fans after my Shohei video, which, by the way, I think I was very fair to Shohei in that video. I just kind of stated the facts. They still came after me. It is what it is. It's okay. I would say this. I don't personally like to instigate with the fans of other teams. It's just not my sport. But if it's your sport, I support it. Go for it. I don't care. But you got to be prepared if the worst happens. If the NLDS comes again this year, the NLCS comes again this year, and they beat us, you got to take it. It's a give and a take. So, look, they gave it to you last year. Give it back. That's how I feel. But who am I to tell you how to do your fanhood? I again try not to instigate, but I can also talk I could talk my way into and out of a situation if needed too. Corey Carter says, how tall is Strider? He pitches downhill as well as anyone I've ever seen. He's not particularly tall. I mean, I've stood next to him. He's taller than me, but that's not saying a lot. For those of you that don't know, I am not a tall man. Let me see. By the way, if any of you ever meet me, I will make you look tall in pictures. I promise. But 6 foot even is Spencer Strider. So he's not like a Randy Johnson or anything. I mean, he's 6 foot tall, but he's not like extremely tall. Matty F says they were definitely getting to Strider today a little bit. He had to step off the mound a few times. Yeah, but I mean, what do you expect? I mean, these are the same fans that were chanting his mom's name when he was warming up in the bullpen before the NLDS last year. So, you know what? I'll say it. Snicker has already said this. They're the worst fan base in baseball. Like, they just are. I personally speaking, I don't appreciate the way they operate. Because Braves fans, like, we have our, everyone's got them. We have our, folks that do too much or whatever. But the Philly fans as a group talk to players. Snicker was talking about how he didn't want to bring his wife to games at Philly anymore. So it's just, that to me is a turnoff for any fan base. I've been in the stands before where I've had folks come after me for wearing something with a Braves logo on it or whatever. And, whatever, you can throw stuff at me and, you're not going to scare me. But when you start doing it with kids, when you start doing it with families of the manager, families of players, that's when it gets a little bit scary. I'll tell you a story. A few years ago, I did a vlog on this some years ago, but we traveled to Texas during COVID, during the bubble, and we were watching the Dodgers versus the Braves. And, we were a group of Braves fans, 3 or 4 guys, and I'm glad I wasn't by myself, to be honest with you. But some guys got riled up and started yelling at us and cussing at us, and it was the game where we were down like 15-2 in the second inning. I mean, it was a rough game, but we didn't even get to enjoy being at the ballpark because these guys are not only in our face in the stands, but we couldn't even leave our seat without these guys getting in our face. The same guys. So anybody can ruin an experience. It's just, to me as a fan, you owe the folks around you you owe the folks around you the same dignity they're giving you, And for me, I'll just put it to you this way. It made my day when we beat the Dodgers in NL. It was bigger than the World Series when we beat the Dodgers in 21 because of that. Because the year before I basically got ran out of the building, for in so many words. I mean, I didn't leave the stadium because of that, but it was just not a fun time. And keep in mind, I paid the ticket to go all the way to Texas, and this guy is ruining my experience on top of the game not going well. But I can live with the game not going well. When you're cussing in front of kids, when you're acting a fool in front of kids, that to me is when you lose me. You can say whatever you want. You paid your ticket. It's like a wrestling fan. You paid your ticket. You can voice your opinion. But when you step across that line, they always say that's when you lose it. To me, in baseball, the moment you step across the line is when you attack other fans, number one, but verbally. It becomes not enjoyable. I've always had respect for the fans who can go to a game, sit next to their most heated rival. Let's say it's the Mets. Let's say I'm sitting next to Frank the Tank. I would do my best, and I think Frank would actually, I would do my best to have a good conversation with Frank, good interaction, right? And that's the way it should go. I don't think fans should hate each other at the ballpark. I think it should be, we're here to watch this game together. I'm rooting for my team. You're rooting for yours, right? But not every fan's wired that way, unfortunately. But yeah, the Philly fans, I don't think it's just not very classy, I guess is the best way I can put it. But good question. Really good question. Corey Carter, I already answered that one. Let's see. Dad, I can't. It's not my dad. It's the guy named Dad. I can't. You know what? I'll read it. MLB doesn't need Taylor Swift for celebrity drama. We have Shohei. Well, Hato Mato, you are the best in the biz, Tyler. Always nice to the enemies. I try to be. I mean, look, I could poke fun. I mean, you're talking to the same guy who, last year when the division was over, I came on here and played Sal saying the NL East is over, So, I can poke fun, but it just is what it is. There's some things that just go too far, and people know when it goes too far. You know when it goes too far. You just do. And I think they're the team that I would circle the most are the ones that go over the top. Dad, who has the second worst fan base? I would go Dodgers. Just because of my personal interaction, I would go Dodgers. Not the Mets. The Mets fan base, I at least respect because they're loyal. As much trials and tribulations as that fan base has been through, they're loyal. They're not hateful for the most part. Frank the Tank makes me laugh on a regular basis. Plus, they're kind of down to earth. I think my interaction with the Dodger fans probably put them in number 2. After that, they're all kind of the same to me in terms of levels of whatever. I think, any fan base has the potential to be a terrible fan base. I mean, look, guys, I don't want to throw shade at any Braves fans, but, we do have a habit of throwing bottles on the field. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying from another fan's perspective, that may be what I'm saying, right? It's just that should never be what a fan base does. So it just is what it is. Let's see. Corey Carter says Philly cheesesteaks are overrated. I don't like them. Let's see. Corey Carter says it's going to be a rough year for Frank the Tank. I definitely think so too. Matty F, I enjoy going to national games where the Braves are visiting. I always get to drinking with a random group of Nats fans every time. That's my point, right? Like you can, I've been to 19 ballparks, across this country. I love the game. I love going to different ballparks and seeing the atmosphere. I've been to Nationals Park. They're very classy people. 9 times out of 10, it might be because their team doesn't have a chance, but either way, I actually saw Michael Harris's first home run in Nationals Park a few years ago. But that's my point, right? Like if you go to Wrigley Field, right? Let's say you're going to watch the Braves take on the Cubs at Wrigley Field. First time ever at Wrigley Field. I would expect that most Chicagoans are going to be very respectful to you. Oh, you're from Georgia? Well, nice to meet you. Glad to have you here. That's how it should be, But it'll be what it'll be. The dad name is rhetorical. Gotcha. He says, we're definitely not the nicest group. I've had to block Okay. Well, that is what it is too, right? I mean, like I said, all fan bases have, the nutcases, but it is what it is. Corey Carter says, have you been to the Cathedral? I assume you're talking about Yankee Stadium, but I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. I've been to, if you want me to try to name them, I will, but obviously the ones in Atlanta, we'll count that as 1. Chicago, both of them, so that's 2. Oh, Boston. Yeah, I've been to Boston. I love Fenway. Wrigley, I've been to Yankee, I've been to City, Milwaukee, St. Louis. Trying to get ideas. trying to think. It's been a while since I've actually gone through it. I've done forgotten already who I mentioned, but I've been to 19 of them. So, I mean, I've been to Cincinnati, Cleveland, so that's 11. Washington, D.C., that's 12. Pretty much all of them on the East Coast. Whoever's on the East Coast, we pretty much hit. Oh, both the ones in Texas, Houston, and just the Texas Rangers. So that's like 14. So I'm not going to name all of them. The Orioles, thank you. I've been to Camden Yards. But my dad at his house has a chart with all of them listed out. So we've kept track of which ones we've been to and which ones we haven't been to. We want to get out to the West Coast. That's really the only place we're missing. That in Canada. But what are you going to do? Philly. I've been to Philly, so there's 15. But, I mean, I couldn't name them all. Camden is a great park. I love Camden Yards. It's really was the first of the new modern, kind of stadium. St. Louis is really good. They got a nice ballpark village. My dad actually just went to St. Louis, and we love the ballpark village there. Milwaukee's nice. I've been to the Trop. I've been to both, so that's 16. Both the ones in Florida, the Trop and Miami. The Trop is underrated, and I'll stand by that. That's a hot take, and I know it's a hot take for anybody that's been there. It's not the best. I'm not going to sit here and act like the that Tropicana Field's the best park ever. But I will tell you something. It's got air conditioning, okay? And that's not something that I want to just gloss over. It's got AC. It's got a roof on it. And I'll tell you why that's a big deal for me. The first time I ever went to the Trop, I've been a few times. It's real cheap to get in. But the first time I ever went, they were playing the Angels. I remember they were playing the Angels. We were watching Josh Hamilton, Mike Trout, Albert Pujols take BP, and they're hitting it off the catwalk and all kinds of stuff. It was crazy. But here's the thing about Tropicana Field. It was an absolute, it looked like a hurricane outside that ballpark, okay? And inside, there's a whole Major League Baseball game going on. We're just fine. Also, the prices, it's kind of like Oakland. The prices are so affordable, and it's just relaxing. It's a relaxed ballpark, and it's, they're just happy you're there in a lot of ways. They have the Ted Williams Hitters Hall of Fame there. The inside corridors are they make you feel like you're at the Trop, but overall, it's not a bad time. I've contemplated with the idea of just taking a weekend trip to Tampa and watching like 3 Rays games, but we haven't done it yet, but we may. But it's not that bad. Oakland I hear is pretty bad. I've never been. I'd kind of like to go before it closes down, just so I could, pay the $8 and sit right behind home plate. But I've been to LA, but that was for work. I didn't get to go see Dodger Stadium. I didn't do any of that. So I wanted to, just for the historical aspect, but I didn't get to. But if you're asking my favorite ballparks all time, I think Fenway's got to top it. It's just got to. I would go Wrigley too, and that might be just because they're so old, and I like the charm of them. But Camden Yards is probably number 3. Truist is in the top 10. I definitely think Truist is in the top 10. But I don't know if I can put it in top 5. I don't think Yankees in top 5 either. The old one might have been. I never went to the old one, but the new one is so corporate. Every bit of it is corporate. It's like you're it's really like you're just. You're in New York, so I get it, but it's not. It doesn't feel like you're at a baseball game. It just something about it ain't right to me. St. Louis is probably in top 5. I'd probably put that number 4. Milwaukee's nice. I'd put it in top 10. I'll put Truist at 5. Truist is a good ballpark. Everything about Truist is a good ballpark. Let's see. Yeah, the Battery is the new. Corey, the Battery. Corey says the Battery is the new blueprint for sports teams. The Battery is not the first of its kind. Ballpark Village is a lot like the Battery. The first time we ever went to Ballpark Village a few years ago before they built Truist, we were like, oh man, this is this is super nice. And it was, it surrounds the stadium, shopping and all that kind of restaurants or whatever. Very similar, right? And a lot of these ballparks are starting to do it. And it's smart, Here in town, the new AA Braves team that's coming here, they're talking about doing a very similar style to the Battery. So it is the blueprint, but it didn't start with Truist. Have I ever been to Doubleday Field? Yes, I've been to Cooperstown. I have been to Doubleday Field. Very, very nice little venue. If you ever get a chance to go to Cooperstown, guys, you just got to do it. I mean, if you're sitting here watching my stream late on a Friday night and you've never been to Cooperstown, you got just fork out the money and go if you can. Jake Hobby says, I've only been to Truist and Turner for MLB. I went to the Indians when I lived. For the Pirates AAA team. I've been to a lot of minor leagues. I've been to a lot of spring trainings. I don't count those because it's too tough to keep track. But it is what it is. Matthew says, Tyler, do you think the Rays' new stadium should stay in the same area as the Trop? That seems to be their plan, but that area couldn't even get 20,000 fans during playoff games even after a 99-win season. Why stay? I don't disagree with you. But here's the thing. It's not just them. It's Florida. It's not just Tampa. It's Miami. I mean, they're both that way. I don't know that Florida is a sustainable market because a lot of the folks in Florida that are there are snowbirds. So in the summertime, they go back up north, and in the in the wintertime they're in Florida. So you have that aspect. You have those ballparks fill up when the Yankees come to town. Those ballparks fill up when the Red Sox come to town. That's when they fill up. They don't fill up for playoffs. They just don't. Not unless they're playing the Yankees. Doesn't happen. But that's just my take on it. Corey Carter, no place hotter than Turner Field on a Sunday when there is no breeze. If that is not the truth, I have many memories of being sunburnt coming home from Turner Field. Yeah, I mean, Turner Field was just, gosh, I have so many memories there. But we're going to wrap it up there, guys. We've had a great stream. I really appreciate all you guys tuning in tonight. Thank you for listening through all of whatever this funk is. If you got the funk, I'm right there with you. Praying for your quick, fast recovery. Hopefully, by the next time we do one of these, I'll be 100%. But again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys liking the video. Of course, commenting, getting all your comments in. Really do appreciate it. And again, thank you for being a Braves fan because what an opening day this was. 9-3 win over the Philadelphia Phillies. The offense was great. Strider was great. The bullpen was great. You can't ask for much more. With that all being said, again, please do like the video. Subscribe for notifications, and of course hit the bell so you get our notifications, all that good stuff. And again, if you want to check out the On Deck shop, we have a couple of those now, but you can check it out. Go into that QR code. We also have a couple different locations where you can shop where it's under construction. I'm working on it, but we're eventually going to be moving to just one. And the original, which is the one that QR code is going to take you to, is going away. So if you want something from that shop, now's your time to get it because it is going away. It's going away soon. So if you want to get something, that's the place to go. After that, the new shop will be here and we'll have all new products. So make sure to check in with that. But for now, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time right here at On Deck.
Baseball fans, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for your support.